What's going on, and welcome back to another episode of the Run the North podcast. I am here, of course, with the boys, the Geek Slays, and Miller Football. We're back at it today. We're talking about some quarterback prospects, talking about all the head coaching hires, all the vacancies are filled. But before we get into all of that, boys, how are we doing?
I'm doing pretty all right. I got hit with a wave of disappointment earlier today, but other than that, I'm pretty okay.
What happened?
I watched Will Anderson's All-22 tape.
And it was disappointing?
Yes.
He's
Interesting.
He's not Myles Garrett like I was told he is.
I've seen one clip of Will Anderson, and you want to know what I saw?
What?
Him getting bullied by Bijan Robinson. That's what I saw. But Bijan's a great pass blocker, so that's not really fair, but he got bullied on one play at least. That was pretty great.
Yeah, I watched him versus Texas. I watched him versus Tennessee. I got through the Texas A&M game, and then I was halfway through another one before we started recording. And it was just, I don't know, he's good. Like, he's going to be a good pass rusher. He's one of the 3 to 5 best players in the class, but, like,
he's not falling off he's a number one overall pick.
Right, he's not... He's going to be limited where he can play because he's a 3-4 outside linebacker through and through. You are not making that man play defensive end in a 4-3. It's not happening. He does not have the size or the strength to do it. If he's going to get any sort of power rush on a tackle, he has to line up literally 3 to 5 yards off the line of scrimmage and get a running head start. He gets bullied constantly in the run game. If you double team him, he's a non-factor. He's quick. He's technically refined, and he's smart. Those are the big things he has going for him. So, like, he has a high floor. It's just his ceiling isn't quite the psychotic superstar that I expected him to be given the hype around him.
So you were expecting his film to look more like Jadeveon Clowney. And
yes.
It didn't.
That was what I was going and expecting, and instead I got, like, mini Brian Burns, maybe.
I know saying
he doesn't
that
have the bend.
is weird because everybody kind of thinks about Jadeveon Clowney in the NFL, and he's not that good. Dude was incredible in college.
Mm-hmm.
Like, next level shit. Jadeveon was great. Now that you've taken over, though, I'm...
How are you doing, Geek? Yeah.
Doing okay. Launched basically the only thing I've been doing is working on my draft profiles for the Patreon I just launched. So
fair enough.
Yeah, go become a member on my Patreon. Thanks, I appreciate it.
Go give him money.
Thank you. Yes,
go
please.
Give him money.
I very much need it.
All right.
Your boy is poor.
Here.
Let's go. Miller's giving us handouts. We need it. Let's go. $1. That's actually more useful than you think.
It is. It is.
The look on his face was well worth it.
Alrighty then.
Winning.
Oh.
How you doing, Jake?
I'm doing okay, man. I just literally got an email mid-recording that I have a job interview for a church, so that's cool.
Oh, nice.
And other than that, man, we're vibing. Yeah, I mean, moving right into what we're talking about today. All of the head coaching vacancies have been officially filled. We've kind of touched on a few of the individual hires and talked about them, but we haven't really gone too in depth into any of them because they were mostly just filler. But here we are dedicating an entire first half of the episode to head coaching hires. So let's start with the one that I personally like the least, that I think might be the consensus one we like the least. Jonathan Gannon to the Arizona Cardinals. My least favorite hire for a couple of reasons. I think he's kind of goofy. He gives me Nathaniel Hackett vibes, although I don't want to put him in that category yet because we haven't seen him coach a football game. I just think it's kind of an unserious move. I mean, I get, like, yeah, he led one of the best defenses in football, but, like, is he the guy to work with this team and turn this team around? I don't think so, and I don't think he did enough towards the end of the season in the playoffs and in the Super Bowl to earn himself being handed the keys to a franchise. So that's my take. I'm not giving this hire that good of a grade. What do we think about Jonathan Gannon, boys?
Every time.
I mean, honestly, I I don't know. Like, I agree with everything you said. It's a strange hire for sure. He's not somebody that necessarily inspires confidence, especially within an organization that needs that, because Lord knows nobody has inspired confidence in that organization for years now. Uh, Organization that's in a kind of in a mess right now. You know, the GM is questionable. You got the Kyler Murray situation, whatever you want to consider that. There's not a whole lot of talent on the roster, and now you bring in this guy who, like Jake said, does give off Nathaniel Hackett vibes, which I will absolutely label him that before he's coached a game. I don't care. He does not pass the vibe check. The vibe check is surprisingly important for coaches, and he does not pass it because he's just a goofy goober. And a goofy goober mixed with Kyler Murray and all the shit he gets is not a great fit. And like Jake said as well, the defense at the end of the season for the Eagles was very, very disappointing. And one could argue that a lot of his defensive success could be attributed to not only having the deepest defensive line in football, but also Howie Roseman becoming the greatest GM in football over the past few seasons and cooking up one of the best defensive rosters from top to bottom.
We have to remember that they also had Vic Fangio on staff helping.
Right, that as well. You have one of the best defensive minds over the past I don't know, 2 decades or whatever, however long he's been coaching in the NFL. I don't want to say he did the heavy lifting or anything like that, but I'm sure he had a bit more input than people would think and gave Gannon more pointers than you would imagine. And I don't know, maybe that kind of stuff sticks with him and transfers over, but I agree. Gannon's probably the least inspired coach out of the new group, and I'm not a big fan.
I think I'm just really interested to see. She's going from one of the most talented defenses in football, like on paper, to what is, with the retirement of J.J. Watt, a pretty abysmal defense. They don't have anybody who can rush the passer effectively. They have Buda Baker in the secondary, and that's about it.
Isaiah Simmons.
They have some
Isaiah
guys.
Simmons, yeah.
He has been good. Yeah, you're right.
It's just their front four is absolutely terrible, especially if
like, who is their best pass rusher right now? Like Zach Allen?
He's leaving free agent, or he's a free agent. Yeah, that's what I was trying to think of.
They won't re-sign him, so
I doubt it.
That's an abysmal front four, and so you say here, go from the most talented defense in football and having Vic Fangio to not having Vic Fangio and one of the most abysmal defensive rosters you've seen in a while.
Yeah. I will say on the bright side for him, he could end up with Will Anderson fairly easy, depending on how the board falls.
He'll end up with Will Anderson or Jalen Carter for sure, I believe.
Yeah, and if he ends up with Anderson, I think Anderson would fit his defense very, very well. He would basically be what Hassan Reddick was for Philly, maybe to a slightly lesser extent, because Reddick also has the ability to drop back into coverage here and there. But that type of rusher is basically what I think Will Anderson's going to end up being. So that would be a perfect fit for him. Yeah. I'm also just projecting because I don't want Will Anderson to end up in a Bears uniform because he doesn't fit us whatsoever. But sure. Yeah, like if they manage to get Anderson and they can have a decent offseason, I don't know what their cap space is looking like, and I know D-Hop's possibly on his way out. I don't know. The Cardinals are in a weird spot, man, and Gannon does not help at all.
Yeah. All right, Mr. The Geek Slays. How do we feel about Jonathan Gannon?
He's great. No.
Love him.
No. I don't get it at all. Like, you know Vic Fangio basically held his hand the entire season. You know this. And then in the one game where we know Fangio wasn't there doing anything to help, we watched Eric Bieniemy, who probably should have been the guy to get this job. Didn't even get an interview, but we're not going to talk about that. We watched Bieniemy coach that game like a guy who deserved to be a head coach. And we watched Gannon make adjustments and coach that game like somebody who doesn't deserve to be in the goddamn league anymore.
Dude, and even like he even got like outcoached by Steve Spagnuolo in that game.
Yes.
Like,
yeah. And then the other
Spags,
two.
Hold on. Let's respect Spags for a minute here. Let's not throw him under the bus like that.
Spags is not that good of a DC.
Spagnuolo.
I mean, okay. No, he's actually a great DC. He's not that good of a coach. He's a good defensive play caller. Dude can't
Yes.
coach. Dude can't
Yes.
coach. He can call plays.
Yeah.
He can't coach.
I don't disagree, but still, put some respect on his name. He's one of the best blitz drawer
also-
uppers in the game.
Only been like the defensive coordinator on 3-4 Super Bowl winning teams. So
Mhm.
I think both Chiefs teams and the last 2 Giants Super Bowl runs. I know the Giants ones are correct. I just don't know if he was there in 2019 for the Chiefs. But either way. No, but like your other candidates that you talked to and were close with at the end, Brian
Ooh.
Flores is a better defensive coach. Like 100%. And then Vance Joseph is the most disrespected motherfucker I have ever seen. It's worse than Eric Bieniemy due to the fact Vance Joseph got a head coaching job once with the Denver Broncos. They gave him the least talented roster they've put out in the last 20 years. They gave him Trevor Siemian, and when he only won 3 games, they fired him because, well, you should have done more with a literal high school roster. I don't fucking know. And then immediately they went and signed another defensive head coach, which, like, what the fuck? But then getting passed over for Gannon, like, what has Gannon done that makes him better than Vance Joseph? Like, I get the Cardinals' defense wasn't that good. Why? The lack of talent we just talked about. The only addition they had all season was J.J. Watt, who I love the guy.
Yeah.
He ain't J.J. no more. Like, he not.
Yeah, and the question that you, like, and this is an actual question, like, he's not going to be calling offensive plays.
No.
So who is?
Have they? Did they
Did
hire a
they
guy?
hire some super young head or
Drew
OC?
Petzing.
Isn't he like 29?
I have no
That's
fucking clue.
One of their coordinators is like a 29-year-old.
Hiring Browns quarterbacks coach Drew Petzing. Let's go find out about Drew. Drew Petzing is 35.
Oh,
So
He
rest of the
looks
DC they
like
hired.
a goober. Okay. That sounds very rude.
this is gonna be
Apparently
the
he was a
goof-
Vikings
the-
coach once, so that's
Yeah.
interesting. Didn't know that, though.
I definitely think that, like, it was a good move hiring a defensive coach in theory. Like, I think if you trust Kyler Murray enough, like, and you trust, like, his ability to run an offense enough, you say, oh, maybe we don't need an offensive guy. Let's get a guy to help the defense. But, like, I would have taken Lou Anarumo probably over.
Yes. Oh.
I would have taken him. And
I
they
forgot about
interviewed him as
Lou.
the craziest
I
part.
forgot
Yeah.
Lou existed.
And they he was like came out as one of the top candidates, and I'm like, that would be a great hire. But like, I don't know. It's just like he's also not a guy who fits well into the we're trying to fix our culture thing because he's kind of a jerk. But yeah, Miller, what are you making faces for?
So, new
what
question.
Have you seen?
Oh, God.
Oh, well, first of all, I want to say the coach I was thinking of is their new defensive coordinator. He's 29 years old, and I've already forgotten his name. Nick Rollis. He was Eagles linebackers coach last year. Second of all, my favorite fullback draft prospect, not from this year, so not Hunter Lepke, but for next year, Mr. Mason Wake from BYU, just liked a tweet of mine.
This guy and his goddamn fullbacks.
What was your question going to be, Geek? Before you forget it.
Did I already forget it? No. So we saw last preseason that Kyler Murray was a better play caller than Cliff Kingsbury. Like, this is factual information.
This is true.
Like, I get
Look
that
at
they
the
brought in
efficiency,
Petzing as their new offensive coordinator, but did they just let Kyler call the fucking shots? Like, I'm being genuine here. Would they be better off just letting Kyler call the shots?
I think Jonathan Ganser is the kind of guy who's going to say, let Kyler cook.
Yeah.
He's very invested in Kyler Murray, which I like. That's one of the positives about this hire is he's bought into Kyler as opposed to Cliff Kingsbury's like, get off the video games and start playing football. You call the plays. And
damn, you're better than
Gannon,
me. Oh, shit.
Yeah, where I think, like, yeah, Stop calling plays, Kyler. You're making me look bad.
You're gonna make me lose my job. How am I gonna afford my trip to Thailand?
And he did. And then Kyler, I mean, I personally, you guys know, I'm a big Kyler fan. So I would say, sure, let him call most of the shots because he's a guy who I would trust saying, oh, go out there and cook. I think that would be good.
Right? Just let him do what the Colts did with Peyton Manning for literally always. Like, here you go. You got it. You'll figure it out.
Kyler's a guy who can play out of structure. He's a guy who, if he needs to make something up, will make something up. I think a healthy season from Kyler Murray, this offense could look okay because
it's
I don't know.
Gonna look bad no matter what.
Yeah, the run game isn't great, and
they're
Brown's gonna be their best receiver. They don't have any tight ends. Never mind. Yeah, this is bad. Their offensive line sucks.
Yeah,
it's just Kyler.
It's just Kyler. Like that's
it's reminiscent. I mean,
it's Lamar.
It's Lamar. Kyler and Lamar, as much as they were debated, are pretty similar situationally and talent wise.
Well,
yeah, Lamar's better. I know this, but
future Viking.
Yeah,
Lamar Jackson.
Any other Jonathan Gannon comments before we move on to the other Eagles coordinator who got a job?
I wish he would have not been high on Kyler. I don't know. I just need a quarterback to become available that's better than Kirk. That's what I need.
I saw a report today saying that the Vikings desperately need to extend Kirk Cousins.
Dude, the amount of fucking idiots saying that right now. And
it's not even to me.
I'm not even mad about the idea of re-signing a guy, right? Like, if Kirk wasn't going to be 36 when his contract was up, sure, extend him.
Mm-hmm.
Because I do think there is a reasonable argument to be made. How likely are we to get an actual upgrade? Genuinely.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not even like the Alex Smith level where it's like he's mid. No, Kirk is a borderline top 10 QB. Nobody's arguing that. He's borderline. He's right there, you know. I think you rank him anywhere from 8 to 13. You can't be mad, you know, somewhere in that range.
Mm-hmm. I hear a certain Duke quarterback might be available soon here, so maybe you go pick up the guy who just
$45 million man.
Dude, what? I made a video about this. I literally yelled the same thing. What drugs is that idiot on? I
don't think the report is real. There's no way he's actually asking for $45 million.
It might be.
And listen, if it is real,
I honestly think he's just trying to push it as far as he can before the Giants just like get out of our city, like and leave.
If Daniel Jones asked me for $45 million, I'm telling him to go pack his locker and get the fuck out. Not just of the city, not just of the state, of the fucking country. You are too stupid to be left alive.
You also have to understand who's running the Giants front office. Who knows? I don't know.
I don't.
I actually don't know who their GM is.
It used to be Gettleman, so
it's Joe Shane. Joe Shane's actually solid.
Oh,
I like him a lot.
Yeah, but so in Joe Shane we trust. Do not re-sign Daniel Jones if he wouldn't.
No, if he pays him $45 million, he doesn't deserve to ever have a job in the NFL again.
I think one of you two also quote tweeted the same PFF thing where it was like, I think he's going to be signed for 5 years, blah blah blah. Like, if you lock this dude down for 5 years, you gotta lose your job, man. That's crazy.
Dude, he's so bad. I don't get it. I genuinely don't. When I made the video ranting about it, I'm like, so we're talking about a guy who has been awful 3 out of his 4 years in the NFL. The 1 year that he was mid, he was playing in an offense that a toddler could have ran. And I don't mean Kyler Murray. I mean a real toddler. Like
he's a very narrative-based guy where it's literally just like quarterback on a contract year improves slightly and isn't awful, and the team's just like, all right, here's the check, write how much you want.
My thing is, it's been 4 goddamn years. And he's never been more than mid. Now he's demanding to make, whether the report's true or not, I don't care. Now he's demanding to make more money than Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Kirk Cousins, Lamar. What drugs?
Even if you want to like keep Daniel Jones and believe that you can win with him and like build around him, make the roster good around him, paying him $45 million is not going to help with the roster improvement thing because you're eating up a bunch of cap space on Daniel Jones.
If you can't build a winning roster around Kirk making 35, you cannot win a game building a roster around Daniel Jones making 45. I guarantee it. I stand by it.
Then they're not going to be able to pay like.
No, Saquon has to walk. He would have to.
That's
Future
why
Viking, unfortunately.
That's why the Saquon news will not break until Daniel Jones is either signed or walking.
Yeah.
Because Saquon's going to be like, because even if they try to re-sign Saquon, they're going to lowball him so hard. If they re-sign Jones for what he's asking, they're going to be like, yeah, you can take this $3 million contract and stay. He's like, I don't know about that one. I'm going to go to
if
the place
I was
that has the most
Saquon, I
cap
want to leave
space.
anyways. I genuinely,
I would too.
the Giants could not pay me enough to go back. I would never want to play on that MetLife turf ever again.
To be fair, Saquon literally has the option to go to any team that doesn't have Derrick Henry, Jonathan Taylor, or Nick Chubb, or like Aaron Jones.
Fuck, I
like
think there's
Christian
a world he
McCaffrey.
could still go to those teams.
Yeah, and even that, like
Like
literally,
Nick Chubb and Saquon, we thought
every
Kareem
single
Hunt
team-
and Chubb was good.
Yeah, every single team who even is remotely considering looking at a running back could literally just be like, "All right, Saquon, we're gonna pay you a lot of money. Come here." And honestly, there's 15 teams that would be a quarterback upgrade, and out of those 15 teams, a lot of them need running backs. So, yeah.
Now, just to play devil's advocate for a moment, I'm not saying this is how I necessarily feel, but this is I got this from a conversation with my father earlier today. He's not quite as in tune with Daniel Jones as we all are. So he hasn't seen him play a whole lot. He saw him play in the Vikings playoff game. That's kind of his experience, or his exposure to him.
Uh-oh.
And he
So the
said,
one time Daniel Jones has ever looked good, that's his exposure. Gotcha.
or, well, at least for this season, right? Like, he watched him before that,
Right.
but, like, this season, he's like, he must have taken a big jump. And even then, it's not like he thinks Daniel Jones is some great quarterback. But reasonably speaking, how many quarterbacks would be an upgrade over Daniel Jones, and how many of them can the Giants realistically acquire?
So you're talking about, like, you want an overall number of how many quarterbacks are better?
No, not how many are better that they could reasonably... Just the ones that they could reasonably get.
I don't know
Not
who else
all
is
of
free
the ones
agent.
that are better, because there's like 15 or 20 of them.
Well,
but,
there's
like,
more than that.
either way. Out of the ones that could
I
actually
kind of
acquire and would
I
make
am-
sense. I'm not just
I
saying
said this on
they're
my
on the
TikTok.
market. I'm saying that
I am
actually
on
make
the Daniel Jones should be re-signed train, but as long as it's a reasonable amount, because I have this weird feeling in my gut that Anthony Richardson is going to be available when they pick. I don't want him to be.
sense. There's no way.
No.
There
And
is no
honestly,
way.
with the way his stock is rising, probably not.
I was going to say,
But
because if he falls like that, teams like the
they were
Vikings,
to
the
be-
Bucks, they're moving up.
If they were able to somehow get a project guy like Levis or Richardson to fall into their laps, they should draft him. Because
Yeah, neither of those
Neither
guys
of
are
them will
falling
be
that
there.
far. It just popped in my head. Even if they fall into the 20s, you do know who gets a pick before the Giants.
Packers. Yes.
And no,
Yes.
the Vikings.
Yes.
If one of the top 4 guys falls to 23, they are not making it past the Vikings. That is a guarantee.
Well, my question to you is, and we're already moving, we're so
But no,
off track, but my
I'm
question to
looking.
you is, if you were to draft somebody, a position that you're more in need of in the first round, and then take a little guy named Hendon Hooker
I'd be down.
later, would you be okay with that? I think you would be if you're the
I'm down for
Vikings.
Hendon Hooker. I just if Richardson or Levis, I stand by if Richardson or Levis are still there at pick 10, you move the fuck up.
Yeah,
I
a
think-
quarterback's not a position you wait on.
No.
If you want a quarterback and there's one available, you jump the gun.
And for a guy
It
like
doesn't
Richardson, that would
Yeah.
Like if
that would so closely mirror the Alex Smith, Patrick Mahomes thing.
yeah,
You get a
and like I
savvy.
can also.
Sorry, go ahead.
I could also see Stroud being a Justin Fields type of guy where he ends up falling, and then a team, the second he gets to a certain pick, is going to trade up immediately and take him.
Yeah.
Quessy in
Um,
Quessy we trust.
But yes. Speaking of teams that are going to need a quarterback sooner, need one.
I gotta answer Miller's question. This is what I've been
no
doing.
one ever answered my question.
So, guys that they could reasonably go get. I'm seeing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going 9 guys.
Now, how many of them would make sense?
All of them.
Okay. Like I said,
Gino, I guess Gino doesn't. He's already been a Giant, so 8 of them make sense.
He's also going to be a Seahawk next year.
If he hits the open market, I could see him leaving. I really could. If, he
Not
doesn't work out a
Giants,
contract. No. But, I'm sorry, Derek Carr's an improvement. Baker is an improvement. He actually is.
Okay.
I'm willing to argue Sam Darnold's an improvement. Darnold has never been as bad as Danny Dimes was those 3 years.
I see the argument.
Sam Darnold's been what
I
this
see the
year.
Argument.
Sam Darnold, his entire career has been what Daniel Jones was this year. Fine.
Yeah. That's valid.
Yeah, that's fair.
Jimmy G is an upgrade. Teddy's an upgrade. Jacoby Brissett is an upgrade. The 2 that I'm curious about, I want your opinions on. Andy Dalton and Taylor Heineke.
Neither of those are an upgrade.
Heineke
has literally had
mechanically sound Daniel Jones.
His mechanics are better. And he also doesn't have turnover problems. He's also actually a locker room leader.
Daniel Jones
has more turnovers in his career than he has touchdowns. Fuck off.
But this season he literally fixed that issue and threw 2 interceptions.
Brian Dable fixed the issue by not letting Daniel Jones make decisions. When your quarterback improved because
he can't just keep doing that.
You'll never win anything with a quarterback who you either throw to option 1 or you run. You're never gonna win a game.
Oh,
yeah, this isn't
Super Bowl battle with Taylor Heineke, baby. Here we go.
That's not what I'm saying.
And Andy Dalton,
but also at $45 million, Taylor's an improvement. At $30 million, Taylor's an improvement. At $20 million, Taylor's an improvement. If you're paying Daniel Jones more than $15 million, I'd argue it's better to just pay Heineke too.
Yeah. Now, I would have put it out there. I don't think Daniel Jones is great, and I don't think he's the answer for the Giants at quarterback by any means, but I thought it was an interesting question.
Also, Drew Lock's a free agent.
Sure.
There's your argument.
He's not better.
He is, in fact, an upgrade.
He is not an upgrade.
I am required to say that.
I will say those words if you say that Heineke would be an upgrade because of the price difference. I will praise
Heineke would be an upgrade.
Yeah, Drew Lock's better than Daniel Jones. There you go. Actually,
right.
The price difference actually works for Drew Lock too. I'd rather pay Drew Lock $1 million than Daniel Jones more than 15. I'm not even kidding. Actually, I'd rather have any quarterback at $1 million than Danny Dimes at more than 15.
And this is why you're not an NFL GM.
That is true.
No, with the way you dumbed down the offense, tell me right now that Trace McSorley couldn't have done the same thing.
That's not a fair comparison because he's the greatest quarterback of all time.
Bryce Perkins couldn't have done the same thing.
Who?
Bryce Perkins.
He was the guy who started for the Rams this year because Stafford and Wolford both.
Yeah, he's not a real person. You're just pulling up names off a randomly generated draft class at this point.
Bryce Perkins.
That is a non-playable character in a Madden game. That is an NPC. It is not a real human.
This is a really fucked up thing to be saying about a real human being.
I do think it's funny because I've seen. I have met somebody on Twitter. I'm a mutual with somebody on Twitter whose Drew Lock is Bryce Perkins. My affinity with Drew Lock is his with Bryce Perkins.
That's crazy. Bryce Perkins is an NPC name.
Really? That's the guy, the Rams backup you're going to argue is an NPC and not John Wolford,
who is an accountant.
John Wolford? There's 2 NPCs. You're just naming fake quarterbacks.
What about the Chargers backup, Easton Stick? What do we think about him?
He's real. He's real. I like it. His name's Easton. Easton's a sick name.
Also, Gardner Minshew's a free agent. That's interesting. What team bets on Gardner Minshew
to be their backup? I don't know.
No.
Potentially
What team?
the Colts.
Oh my God, I could see it. I really could. Oh,
Wow,
God.
it's almost like that was
Speaking
a
of the
transition.
Colts, they just hired Shane Steichen, the other Eagles coordinator.
Oh, so there's a connection there. They're gonna bring in
there's a
Gardner
connection
Minshew.
there.
Did you not know that?
I totally just wasn't paying enough attention to what was going on. So
This guy.
I don't know. It's fine.
But yes, Shane Steichen just got hired as the Eagles, not as the Eagles head coach. He's the Eagles head coach now. No more Nick Sirianni. Goodbye.
Nice.
As the Colts head coach, and I am kind of a fan of this hire. I think it's probably the best route they could have gone based on how the board fell coach wise for them. I think it's a guy who, if they are to draft Anthony Richardson 4th overall, which they should. I think that he would be a very good guy to develop him because it's a similar skill set to Jalen Hurts. It's a similar play style. I think that would work out very well for them. If he's there, my take is that the Colts should take Anthony Richardson.
They should take Levis or trade up for Young and just let Anthony Richardson fall to Minnesota. I like that idea.
They should trade up for Anthony Richardson.
No, that's
Give the
worse.
Bears 3
They should take
first-round
Anthony
picks.
Richardson 1st overall.
Dude,
But
imagine it's Bryce Young that falls to 15 and Minnesota trades up.
And then he measures in at 5'5".
Oh, he
and never
absolutely.
plays an
I
NFL
promise you, he's going to measure in as the smallest quarterback to ever live. He's going to come in at 5'8", like 170.
All right, well, we can talk about that in a moment,
Sorry.
because Shane Steichen is the topic at hand. Geek, how do you feel about the hire? Because you were shaking your head.
I just don't care. I don't. Steichen makes no sense to me. I gotta ask, because I guess I'm not sure. Did he actually call the plays for the Eagles?
yes,
Did he? Okay.
Sirianni gave up play calling last season.
Did he? Okay. Either way, you wanted to hire an offensive guy. You interviewed Eric Bieniemy, who has literally always coached an offense better than what Steichen has ever done. That is just what Bieniemy does. He also out-coached him in the last game you watched. It's not that I dislike Steichen. I'm just sick of these loser coaches who have one decent year getting head coaching jobs over guys who deserve it more. It's a fine hire. I think the Jim Bob Cooter as offensive coordinator hire is awful. But so once I saw that, my faith in Steichen just
having him
But
and
Jim
Mo
Bob
Alley Cox in
is
the same
awful.
franchise is
amazing.
Bob.
Having the two best names in sports
having him and
on the
Mo
team
Alley
is great.
Cox on the same franchise is pretty dope. But yeah, I mean Steichen. I think that it is worth noting that he ran one of the better offenses in football, and unlike his counterpart in Jonathan Gannon, did not completely collapse in the biggest game of the
fair.
season. So,
But also,
and their offense was a well-oiled machine. The Niners game, you can say whatever, but they played the best defense in football at one of them. So sure, but I think that this run game being as good as it is, I think it can be pretty well attributed to Shane Steichen and what he's done with this team. But that's my take.
I'm sorry to cut in here real quick, but are we giving credit to Steichen for calling a good game in the Super Bowl? Or are we going to give credit to Jalen Hurts for bailing him out constantly?
Both.
Okay. I'm down for both. I was just curious.
I think it was a factor of him playing a good game and them scoring 35 points, but also Jalen Hurts just being a superhero. So I think that's...
At the end of the day, if your offense puts up 35 points in a game,
That's
it's
fair.
not their fault you lost.
Yeah.
I hate to be the one to pin the blame on the defense because I'm a defense guy, but if you put up 35 points in a game, your defense
Shouldn't
screwed up
lose it.
somewhere.
Yeah.
Trust me, I get that. That's the story of my team's whole season.
Yeah.
That's
the bad
story
defense.
of this man's entire life. But yes.
Nuh-uh. He got a good defense twice, actually. The first time he won the Super Bowl, the second time, the Niners came into Green Bay in a blizzard, put up 13, and Rodgers lost.
He averages 42 in the playoffs and there's only one Super Bowl ring. I don't want to hear it. But
Cool.
Whatever. You're a Vikings fan. That's the only reason you're saying this.
Ratio plus
yes.
Vikings fan.
Ratio plus Vikings fan.
Ouch.
Ended.
But yeah, Miller, I don't think you've completed your full thoughts on Mr. Steichen.
Yeah, I mean, like Geek said, Steichen's fine. He did
one of the more boring hires.
Yeah, and it's like it's an NPC hire. You know, like he like Geek said, 1 year offensive coach. He did well with a young quarterback. Not made him look better, but had a hand in his development. Blah blah blah. We've seen this story a million times before. Rinse and repeat. Matt Nagy. Meh, meh, meh. It's just whatever. You know, like I'm sure Steichen will be fine. He's not a game breaking head coach, but he's also not the worst hire in the world. I don't know jack shit about Jim Bob Cooter, so I can't actually say if that's a good hire or not. I just think funny name is haha funny. I will say though, I'm mad at Steichen because he like fullback, and it means the Colts won't have a fullback again this year. Sucks because
and Jonathan Taylor's already not that good, so having a fullback might have been helpful.
They started to run one a little bit towards the end of the year. They're like fourth string tight end.
Yeah, so when Jeff Saturday, took over, the old school hard-nosed football coach wanted
Jeff
a fullback.
Saturday's going to play fullback for them this year. That's his new role.
That would actually be
Fuck
kind of incredible. I'm down.
Okay.
I want to see it.
Fullback, the smartest guy on the field, sign me up. No, but like in all seriousness, it's fine.
So
it's fine.
Jim Bob Cooter, what a name! Every time I say it, it's just incredible. Was the Lions offensive? Yes, he was the Lions offensive coordinator in 2015, 2016, 2017, and 2018.
Patricia era. Let's go.
Yeah, where they were 20-something in yards every year. Except for, that's not true. 2017, they were 13th in yards, 7th in points. Oh, yeah, that's the year where Matt Stafford, carried them to the playoffs, and then they got shithoused in the wild card.
But
that's
Seahawks,
not even, yeah.
I will say before we move on to another guy, I'm very sad that Ben Johnson's staying with the Lions because that made this head coaching cycle a lot less interesting. But
yeah.
Any other Steichen thoughts before we move on to?
I have another devil's advocate question.
Oh God.
Geek, since you're so adamant about Eric Bieniemy, and I don't disagree that he's a good offensive mind and deserves a shot as a head coach, have we considered the possibility that he doesn't interview well?
I don't buy it. And even if he didn't, you're going to sit there and pretend like Adam Gase when he was on meth interviewed well.
Fair.
But did you not, in the Super Bowl postgame, all of the interviews, did you not listen to Eric Bieniemy talk about the game? I'm sorry.
I actually didn't personally.
Yeah, Eric Bieniemy, I will say, is pretty well spoken when it comes to talking to reporters and stuff.
I highly doubt he interviewed poorly.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't think that's actually the case. It's just no question.
I don't know what it is though, because
it's a whole different conversation.
Because
I can tell you what it is.
Yeah, I agree, but I know people like to use he doesn't call the plays. Well, now he calls a lot of the plays, and also that has legitimately never mattered before. Kevin O'Connell never called a play.
Yeah,
Here he is.
He called plays in one playoff game under Andy Reid, got a head coaching job the next year, and he isn't a sixth of the coach or offensive mind that Eric Bieniemy is.
Right.
I think it'll really be interesting after this year if Washington's offense is dope under him actually calling plays and then he still doesn't get a head coaching job.
He's going to be Washington's head coach by week 10.
He'll probably end up being Washington's new head coach.
I don't think they fire Riverboat Ron mid-season.
It's canned.
Dude, the last thing we heard from Riverboat Ron was, wait, we got eliminated from the playoffs? I didn't know. And then you have Taylor Heineke going on the Pat McAfee show telling them Ron Rivera legitimately did not know. It was not a joke.
Stop being mean to my boy.
I like Ron Rivera. Other than the ending in Carolina just pisses me off in general. But
Sure.
What are you gonna do?
But that's also because I'm like the biggest Cam Newton fan, so Ron
Who's better,
Rivera's
Prime Cam Newton or Prime Patrick Mahomes?
prime Cam Newton.
Get this guy off
Clearly.
my podcast.
My podcast.
Oh,
I'm the only one with money involved in its creation, so mine.
Speaking of Cam Newton, who played for the Panthers also hired a new head coach, and his name is Frank Reich. I think this is a hire that we're all pretty big fans of, I would say. Maybe can we get some head nods in agreement here? Yeah, that's what I like to see. But yeah, we're all big Frank Reich guys here. I think he definitely deserved a head coaching job, and I think it should have been no surprise that he got one. And this is the guy that the Carolina Panthers do. They are building a staff in Carolina.
Oh my
They
God.
are building a staff there. And if they can get the right pieces for this staff to work with, I mean, this division pretty much is already theirs at the current moment, and they don't even have a quarterback yet. So hopefully they draft a guy. We'll see how Frank Reich does developing a dude, and I like it a lot. I think this is the best hire of the cycle, in my opinion. So what do we think, boys?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this, like you said, the big thing is they don't have their quarterback yet, but this is the most quarterback-friendly team that needs a quarterback right now.
Great head coach, good roster, yeah.
Great head coach, good offensive supporting cast, really good offensive line. You're going to be working with Josh McCown, who, yeah, wasn't the greatest, but he has 19 years of experience in the league, and he was at least functional. He'll
And
be
he was
able
also
to teach you a thing or two.
A great backup who worked with young QBs
Right.
all the time. Like,
Right.
that's what he does.
Exactly. So that quarterback, whoever it may be, whether it's Levis, Richardson, whoever, is going to be in a fantastic spot. And you look at the other side of the ball, you got Dom Capers coming in, who's one of the most well-respected coaches across the league. You've got Ejiro Evero, who kicked ass as Denver's defensive coordinator
Such a
last
sick
year.
hire. Yeah.
Yeah,
He
You've
should
got
be
Chris
in
Tabor.
Minnesota.
You've got Chris Tabor, who's been there for a year now and is a great special teams coordinator. They added Deuce Staley, who's their, I think, offensive coordinator is the role he ended up getting.
Thomas Brown
What is
got
it?
their offensive coordinator job.
So
I
what's
don't
Deuce
know what
doing then?
Deuce got.
Okay.
I'll double check. Deuce,
Let's see.
Deuce Staley is...
Assistant head coach, running backs coach.
there you go.
Yeah. So either way, I mean, he's awesome too. James Campen is a good offensive line coach. Like, they are in a sick situation with their coaching staff. And the reason, like, I love Frank Reich getting hired by this team. And the biggest reason for that is it's the complete opposite of what they did with Matt Rule. Matt Rule was an experiment. You're bringing him up from the NCAA to see if he can bring some of his magic to Carolina. He didn't. He sucked. So they said, okay, we'll just go out there and get an experienced veteran head coach that is well respected and have him assemble an all-star staff. I didn't even mention they hired Jim fucking Caldwell, who I love. He is going to be such a great locker room guy for them on top of being a coach. Like, this Carolina team, like Jake said, if they get their quarterback situation figured out, they are going to win. They're going to walk away with their division.
It kind of looks like everything they needed to do in the offseason besides a quarterback change has been checked off at this point.
Yeah, they're
Okay.
winning the offseason so far.
They're winning the offseason. I mean, they not only got a head coach who improves their team drastically, but also is good for their culture. They brought in one of the better defensive minds in the league right now. I mean, they are just, and with a defense that already like wasn't even that bad last year. And they have one of the best corners in football. They have one of the better edge rushers in football. I mean, that offensive line that wasn't even supposed to be good last year, like, completely overperformed, and their running game was fantastic with Deontay Foreman. So, like, if they get the quarterback they need, hopefully one of those guys will fall on them, or they'll probably end up trading up. But yeah, I mean,
I
slam
would
dunk
love for them
hire.
to trade up to number one.
No.
Yeah, there's a chance they
Geek's
could.
gonna go on a Matt Corral rant here.
No, so I want to, but I'm not gonna. But I do
What
want
do
to.
we think of the right hire here?
I think
Mr.
it's
Geek.
a great hire. Frank Reich's great. He got scapegoated in Indy because Irsay is the weirdest owner in all of sports. I'm not gonna say he's bad, because I genuinely don't think he is. He just wants to win, but then he forces his team to like trade for veteran quarterbacks forever. And then when the old guys are like noticeably old and not good, I don't know, he gets mad at the head coach. Like that's weird. But either way,
He's just impatient.
yes.
That's all it is. He's super, super impatient. He's super, super narcissistic in a way. Like, he wants everything to be done his way, the way
Yes.
he would do it. And if you don't do it, you get scapegoated like Reich did. Reich was a fine head coach in Indy. It's just he didn't obey Irsay's every command.
Irsay is just Jerry Jones with less charisma.
Yeah.
And hopefully
And
less
also-
bigotry.
Less good at getting coaches and GMs who will just be mouthpiece or be puppets for Jerry. Like,
Yeah.
that's why McCarthy keeps his job, is because he is not coaching that team. Jerry is doing everything for that team. And McCarthy
This is
just
Darth
gets
Vader.
no, Jerry Jones is Palpatine.
That's,
And-
I said McCarthy is his Vader.
oh,
That's what I was trying to say.
I just misheard. You got. I
Yeah.
think nobody ever remembers this, but I am literally half deaf. So a lot of times when I say what, it's not because you didn't say it. I just
Right.
literally could not hear it.
Yeah.
So this is a real thing. It's not me trying to be an asshole. But no,
we know.
he's a great coach. He's done a wonderful job building his staff. It's incredible. And then, like you guys said, they're in a great spot for a quarterback. What do you think's more likely, though? Them trading up for the number 1 overall pick, or them trading for Lamar?
Ooh.
The package probably isn't that much different.
I
mean, obviously, it all depends.
would think that if you're trading up for Lamar, probably giving up one of DJ Moore or Brian Burns, which
No.
again would probably happen.
No, I think you're going straight picks. If the Ravens get rid of Lamar, they got to blow it up.
Yep.
That's true. The number 1 overall pick, they definitely would have to give up one of those two guys. And Brian
No,
Burns.
they wouldn't. You'd have to give up, like, I don't think you'd have to give
the
up
Bears
one of
would
them.
ask for.
I think they would
wide
ask for him, but
receiver.
I think you could be convinced to not have to give
True.
that up if you throw in an extra first or second round
okay.
pick.
Yeah.
So let's say they trade for Lamar and they trade away a bunch of their picks. Okay. Do I guess it's just the question you have to ask yourself is, do you believe that this Panthers roster is in a place where Lamar can win the Super Bowl? I would think that that division might as well.
They
just
can win
be
the
handed to them.
NFC. I don't think they,
They
can
could-
win the Super
They
Bowl,
could
though.
probably win the NFC, the NFC, but I fear that Lamar
What team
is
in the
Lamar taking them
AFC
the
is
promise.
that much better than them?
We asked the same question about the Eagles, and then the Chiefs beat them in the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
So,
you're always going to have to worry about Kansas City. Jacksonville's starting to rise.
like the better team does not always win.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
No,
Right,
true.
right.
But
It's just my thing with Carolina with Lamar is you still have to get more weapons around him. Because if Lamar goes to Carolina, he has what? DJ Moore. Granted, that's more than what he's had.
Terrence Marshall is literally better than every receiver he's ever played with.
Yeah,
Okay.
but
does that
they don't
really
have
say
a
much?
yeah, but
Well,
they don't
yes.
have a
They don't have a
tight
tight
end
end.
at all.
Well,
Don't have
right,
a tight end
but
at all.
You
And
trade
the
for
third
Lamar,
wide
you
receiver
go
is LaVisca
sign.
Chenault.
So you trade for Lamar, you go sign Evan Ingram, and then you trot out LaVisca, DJ Moore, and Terrence
now
Marshall,
we're
and that's
talking.
10 times better than he's ever had
Okay,
weapons-wise.
Okay.
Plus, you could keep a guy like Donta Foreman, who was
Right.
who was
That's
great
fine.
as a running back.
I don't have any problem with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think I'll put it this way: getting Lamar puts them a hell of a lot closer than anyone else is going to, but they still have a little bit of work they need to do. They have to fine tune that roster before they're going to be truly contending if they get Lamar.
Oh yeah. My more basic point was if you're giving up 3 or 4 draft picks, do you want a chance at a prospect, or do you want Lamar?
But see, then if you want to raise that question, you have to take the age into account, the money into account, the injury
Lamar's
history into account.
26.
Is he really still that young?
Lamar
Yes.
was the youngest player to ever play in the NFL.
Well, see, I didn't know that. I don't know how I didn't know
He
that.
was-
But that makes sense.
He was the same age when he won his unanimous MVP that Stetson Bennett is currently.
Yeah, because he was the
okay,
youngest
okay.
quarterback or the youngest player to ever win an MVP. Also,
But again, you have to think about the money. How much money is Lamar going to want? I don't know what Carolina's cap situation's currently
I
like,
don't
so.
no
And
idea.
then you got to worry about the injury
Their-
history as well,
their
because
cap
injuries are
situation-
starting to kind of become a problem with Lamar.
They're $7 million below the cap right now. Effective
Yeah.
cap space are $13 million down. So
Damn,
Yeah.
who the fuck are
they
they
are not really
paying?
in the.
Like Dante Jackson, their offensive
They're-
lineman.
They're paying
Shaq-
some weird guys a weird amount of money. Yeah.
The linebacker, Shaq Thompson.
Oh,
Thompson,
God.
they're paying him too,
Um,
and they're paying like a bunch of
Has
different
Weinberg's gotten
quarterbacks
paid
still.
yet?
No, but he
will.
has
He
to.
will very soon. Yeah.
Yeah,
Which is
I think
why
they're- I
everybody-
think they're also still paying Teddy Baker, Sam.
Oh yeah,
Darnold,
they
and
are still
PJ
paying
Walker.
Teddy. I
Paying PJ
forgot
Walker
about
still.
that.
I mean, they're
Yeah.
paying like 5, 6 different quarterbacks.
Oh, that's incredible.
Yeah, working Lamar into Carolina with the money would be very,
Dude,
very
working
difficult.
anything into Carolina is difficult. They
Yeah.
are the
yeah.
worst.
I,
but-
I think just because of the money,
Well,
I would lean towards just trading up.
Yeah,
and
I
drafting
would
a
say
quarterback.
trading up to number 1 is probably the more realistic option for them.
Well,
and
and-
then because then Frank Reich can sit there and take literally whoever he wants.
Right,
See-
that too, because that's another thing. Because I don't think Frank Reich's going to be gonna want to go out and get a quarterback that is a veteran, because he's already dealt with so many. I think he wants to get his guy and wants to mold him the way he wants.
Which is why I also don't see much like viability to them signing Derek Carr.
No,
Oh,
there's-
God, no,
I
that
don't
would
think
be
that'll
stupid.
happen at all. Lamar
That's
would be
what
the only one I'd consider, but they're not going to be able to make that money work. There's no
No.
chance.
And
Because if the Ravens can't pay him, the Panthers certainly can. So
No.
well, the Ravens not being able to pay him and the Panthers not being able to pay him are two so different situations. The Ravens have cap room. Their owner is not rich enough to pay him the
Yeah.
guarantees.
yes,
David Tepper is one of the richest owners in all of sports.
that's true. I forgot
He
Tepper's
could
the runner.
he
Yeah.
could guarantee him
Yeah.
whatever the fuck he wanted. They just don't have
Yeah.
any cap room.
How many cap room?
If Lamar leaves, it's going to be somewhere like Washington or
No, it's-
Atlanta.
Atlanta.
No, let's be honest. It's Detroit. And I hate it.
That would be sick.
No,
Lamar Jackson with Ben Johnson as his
don't
offensive
speak that into existence.
I'm not
No,
trying. Why do you think
no.
I'm pushing the Lamar to Minnesota thing so hard?
That's even worse.
No, it's so much
At least
better.
the Lions are likable.
We have Justin Jefferson. What's not likable about that?
They have Dan Campbell.
We are literally the unluckiest team in all of sports history. What the fuck do you mean? How are we unlikable?
I
You're
will
just
say-
mad because the Bears are
I will
awful and the
say-
Vikings
I
aren't.
will say about the
They
Lions.
are awful, but at least we have
The
room to
Lions
grow.
not only have cap space, but their owner is a billionaire. So
The Wilfs are
Let's
also very rich.
Well, if the commies get sent to Jeff Bezos, then they'll just give Lamar all of Amazon.
Right? They sign him to a 10-year, $10 million contract. But, Bezos just gave him 50% Amazon stock, so he's now a billionaire and no one knows.
And they make him commentate the Thursday night games on Amazon Prime as part of
Even
the
when he's
go.
playing. Live commentary while he's playing.
even when he's playing, could you imagine him running around the pockets like Lamar drops back, throws out to his right.
Lamar rolls right,
Oh, fuck, oh,
rolls
fuck,
back
oh, fuck,
left.
oh, fuck.
Oh, shit. Holy shit, that is a big man. Miles Garrett is a big man. Run away.
Lamar
You can see
Jackson
that on
is part of the
TV.
broadcast. Lamar Jackson is writhing on the ground. In
Lamar
pain.
Jackson has definitely torn his ACL.
Oh,
I'm not a professional, but I think my ACL is torn in 3 pieces.
I heard something pop. This isn't good, guys.
God.
Someone
commercial.
called my mother.
Cut the commercial. Cut the
Someone
commercial.
call my mother. Oh, I love it. This
That's
is
awful.
wonderful.
What about in the game? Was it Lamar or Baker that had to shit in that game? It was Lamar, right?
Yeah, it was Lamar.
Yeah. He had to
Lamar
poop.
Jackson is currently in the bathroom.
Well, no, because everybody thought he was hurt.
Yeah.
And
Lamar
then
Jackson
he
is
just
taking a massive pukey.
sprinted out. Just
Yeah.
fucking.
He
Ah!
pulled a Paul Pierce.
He did.
Paul Pierce having to use the restroom is still the funniest thing that's ever happened in a fucking game.
Oh,
DK did it this year too.
I learned that Kobe Bryant, when he acted the way he did after he tore his Achilles, it was him taking a shot at Paul Pierce. I never knew
Really?
that. Yeah, the trainer who worked with him,
Crazy.
Kobe walked up and he's like, I don't know. The first thing I did when I felt it pop, I reached back there and tried to pull my Achilles back down. Dog, what? And then he's like, yeah, then I got up and started running on my heel to see if I could, like, do that without having to flex the foot. And
Yeah,
the
that's
trainer's like, yeah, that's not
like,
how that works.
it's like in the
Bro's crazy.
It's like in the 2019 finals when Klay Thompson came back off his torn ACL to shoot free throws.
Oh, I love
so
that.
they wouldn't do something.
But also, torn ACL is very different. We've seen a lot of players play with that. Not
Yeah.
basketball, but free
Didn't
throws, you're
play
good.
with the torn ACL?
Who?
Debo in like college or high
Oh, I
school?
have no
played with
idea.
the No, it was a broken leg. He broke his leg
Yeah.
and played on it.
I know Phillip Rivers played an AFC championship game against Tom
did.
Brady with a torn ACL.
That's who I was thinking of with the ACL. Tebow broke his leg in like a high school game or something, and then ran for like 100 yards.
Speaking of Tim Tebow and the team that he played for most of his career, the Denver Broncos, also hired a head coach. We are smooth as butter today.
Did we already talk about this one?
We talked
We
about Sean
have.
Payton. I was gonna pose that. Do we want to just move on to D'Amico?
Sean
talk
Payton-
about Payton?
Good.
No, the more
Sean Payton
important
hired
thing,
good.
before we move on from the Broncos, thoughts on Rex Ryan being their next defensive coordinator.
I have legitimately
I
no thought
like it.
whatsoever about it.
I like
I
it
like
too.
it. Yeah.
Okay, here's the thing.
Rex is
I-
great.
I
He's
am,
supposed to be
and so
a
are
head
you,
coach.
David. But maybe I'm less versed. I am too young to remember Rex Ryan's run as any kind of coach, so I don't really remember much about how good he was.
I remember him vividly because of Hard Knocks. That's the only reason why I remember Rex Ryan.
remember the one play where they beat the Patriots in that AFC divisional round, and there was a pick six, and I just remember me and my dad laughing at Rex Ryan running down the sideline with the guy and watching Rex Ryan run.
Yeah.
That's all I remember of Rex
No.
Ryan.
So
I also do not hate this from what I've heard about him, so I like it.
Miller, I gotta yell
Well,
at you. What?
Why?
What do you mean he wasn't a good head coach? Dude led Mark Sanchez to
Yeah,
back-to-back
you're right.
AFC championship
You're right.
games and had
Yeah,
the
you know
best
what?
defense in football for
I was
5
thinking of
years.
his brother. I was thinking
Oh
of his
yeah,
brother.
also-
Rob Ryan.
I
That's
got
right.
confused for a second. I forgot Rob Ryan existed.
Yeah.
I
Rex
meshed
is
two
great.
Ryans into one being.
And his record isn't even that bad. He's
No,
61
he was a
he's-
good head coach.
Yeah,
he's
he was
61 and
actually great.
66.
And he's a good defensive mind. I like Rex
Yeah.
Ryan a lot.
And
I
I
love-
love him. Like his
Yeah, he's fucking hilarious. I love the Hard Knocks because he would end every fucking speech with "Now let's go get some fucking lunch." Like that's such a Rex Ryan thing. It's so funny.
What's his one quote? I know I've heard it as a sound on TikTok a ton lately. The everybody loves to play when there's no expectations, but then it gets really hard when there finally are some, so nobody wants that. Fuck that. I want all the expectations. That's what being good
Yeah.
means. Like, you want to be the best. Like, I can't remember how it goes. But it's great. Rex Ryan's
It's
the
hard.
best.
It's hard to
I'll find it.
replace Gyro, but this is definitely not. It's not. This definitely isn't a backwards move for them.
No.
It's definitely a
I
moving
think it
forward, or at
could-
least a lateral move.
Also,
Yeah.
Rex Ryan's also the guy who developed Darrell Revis, and you might be
Yeah.
letting him work with Patrick Surtain.
Yeah, this is a good move.
I want it. I want to see it. I kind of wish it wasn't Denver, but that's just because fuck the donkeys. So it's okay.
Peyton
I
hired-
was wrong about my Rex Ryan quote real quick. Can I read the actual quote? Because it is so much better.
Okay, yeah.
Let's make sure we play like the fucking New York Jets and not some fucking slapdick team. That's what I want to see tomorrow. Do we understand what the fuck I want to see tomorrow? Now let's go eat a goddamn snack. That is incredible.
That's funny. Rush Ryan to the Broncos.
So I'm trying I'm trying to find my quote, but I don't...
That's why I found yours, why I found mine, because I was trying to find yours.
That's funny.
Yeah.
God, what the fuck? Dude, some of his quotes are fucking phenomenal.
Have you seen the one about his GQ or about Mark Sanchez being on the GQ magazine?
Oh, no. Oh, God.
Someone asked him about it, and he was like, he looks much better than most of our guys would. Let's just be happy it was him there and not some of these linemen.
That's great.
Stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, and the reason people think Rex Ryan isn't that good is the final year of him being a head coach when he went to Buffalo and was awful.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure his last year in Buffalo was the year they drafted E.J. Manuel.
No. Yeah.
E.J. Manuel was on that team. I don't know if it was his rookie year or not, but E.J. Manuel was the starting quarterback his last year, and almost positive.
Yeah, that you might be right about that.
That's a great quote about Revis.
Oh, I'm sure. Revis is the GOAT.
Yeah, but it's not about how, well, it kind of is about how good Revis is, but it's more of a hype up everybody else quote. He says, "Hey guys, we don't have Revis in this building right now. Does it matter that Revis is not here? God damn, he's pretty fucking good. He's pretty good, okay? But you know what, guys? It isn't about one guy. It's about leading the league in fucking wins."
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
So I just found somewhere where it like showed the quote, but now I can't find the full quote. What the fuck? Speaking of the Sanchez, what a time. What a nickname though. That's a top 10 nickname in sports. The Sanchez.
Yeah.
Okay, where the fuck?
Oh, hold on. This might be it.
No, I just found it actually.
Okay.
So the full quote. Last year, hey, we were under the radar. That's a good place to be. Fuck that. The best place to be is when expectations are high. Get used to it. What? That's not even the full quote. What the fuck? Why did it cut off? Yeah, that's not the full quote. God damn, I hate this. We're moving on. Rex Ryan, Broncos, good hire, but fuck the Donkeys.
Speaking of the defensive coordinator position, a former one got hired as the Texans head coach in D'Amico Ryans, capping off our little segment here on the coaching hires. D'Amico Ryans, new head coach of the Houston Texans. I'm a fan. I think I would rank this as either the second or third best hire in the cycle, where you put him in relation to Peyton is your choice. But I like this D'Amico Ryans hire a lot. I think that this is a good move for them. I question whether or not they trust him to develop a quarterback, and then you have to wonder, are they going to take a quarterback? Hopefully they do.
I wouldn't this year if I were them, but
D'Amico,
I would trade up to number 1 and take a quarterback.
D'Amico, I pray to you will. I think he'll whip this defense into shape. He's a very good guy to actually correctly use Derek Stingley. I think he can really elevate him. And we saw him do something pretty special with this 49ers defense that on paper you wouldn't have guessed would be the best in the league this year. So I think that this is a good hire for them. This is a guy who can at least have them pretty sound defensively if they're not going to be that great offensively this year, which they probably won't. But yes, I'm a big fan of the hire. What do we think, boys?
Go ahead, Miller.
I think the big thing here is the culture. In Houston is going to, I'm a big culture guy when it comes to football. That's my biggest thing. If a head coach is coming in, I want to know what is he going to do not only for the team, but the fans, right? You look at a guy like Dan Campbell. I don't know why I just forgot his name for a second, but you look at Dan Campbell. He comes into Detroit, whips that fucking entire franchise into shape, and all of a sudden they're one of the hottest rising teams in football. They've got a ton of talent. They've got a ton of guys who work their asses off, and they've got passionate fans rallying behind them constantly. So D'Amico Ryan's the big thing with him. is he knows the city of Houston. He played here. He knows these fans. He knows what they want, and he's going to give them what they want. They want good defense. They want a good football team. They want an identity. That's what he's going to come in and give them. He's going to come in, whip this defense into shape. The entire team's going to play with high intensity, high effort. It's going to be a smash mouth offense for a little bit. You have this great running game going with Damian Pierce and my boy Troy Hairston blocking for him. You might not have a quarterback next year. You might still be rocking with Davis Mills. So you're going to have a good defense. You're going to have that hard run game, and that's giving you an identity. That's giving the fans of Houston something to cheer for, something to get excited about, and that's what they need more than anything, because the Texans franchise is a goddamn mess. Everything within that organization is a mess from top to bottom. And obviously, as the head coach, he can only do so much with that, but he's going to do everything he can, and that's going to be huge, and the fans are going to love him for it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think for the Texans, this was a good hire. I think for DeMeco Ryans, this was the biggest mistake he could have fucking made.
Yeah.
You're going to the most dysfunctional team ever. Like, it's awful. And don't be surprised when, after you don't draft a quarterback, because you shouldn't. What, you're going to give up a first-round pick this year and a first next year to move up one spot? And then what? Take Bryce Young, who might never play a full season because, dude gets hit by a big enough bee and it'll break something. Or what? Stroud, who none of us are sure, what he actually could be. Or they could go get Richardson, who will either be out of the league in a year or one of the best quarterbacks ever. That's it. Those are your options. Or what? Levis? No. You go take whatever defensive guy. You really fuck over Chicago. If they trade out of that first pick, you then get your pick of Carter or Anderson. The Cardinals take the other guy. The Bears traded down with the Colts and now end up with nobody. Because the Texans should go defense, O-line, maybe a weapon, get a wide receiver. Maybe that could be a good idea. But then you keep your team bad. So you can go get Caleb Williams, who is got a ceiling higher than Anthony Richardson and a floor higher than every quarterback in this class combined.
Yes.
Caleb Williams is that dude.
Mm-hmm.
He would make
Great.
every quarterback in this class look like they don't deserve a first-round grade. That's the difference. It's not just he's Bryce Young is at that level where he's really good. That's not Caleb's Trevor Lawrence level, Andrew Luck level. He's that guy. If I'm the Texans and if I'm DeMeco Ryans, if I know he is one of my quarterback options, because I at least hope DeMeco got some assurances that he was getting more than 1 year. It's the Texans, so you never actually know. But if you know you're getting more than 1 year, I say you go get one of these generational defensive guys, and then you have, even if you don't finish in a spot where you could trade up to, or where you don't finish as the worst team in the league next year, you have your pick, you have the Browns' first-round pick, you have your pick and the Browns' first-rounder next year, so you trade up. I'm sorry, I don't care who it is at 1. When the Texans call you and say, we've got 4 first-round picks in the next 2 years, you're going to say yes. Because it's the Texans and the Browns. So, you're not ended up with the greatest of, or the worst of picks. You're going to end up with something pretty decent. Because even once they get Caleb, this team's not there yet. You got to rebuild the culture. You got to rebuild the team itself. Because most of their good players at this point, Brandon Cooks doesn't fit your timeline. You got to move on. Laramie Tunsil at this point doesn't fit your timeline. Time to move on. Technically, those are their best players. You've still got Damian Pierce, which running backs are cool, but doesn't matter either way. Mm-hmm. Stingley, we hope, is going to be good, but we don't know. Like, he wasn't sauce last year. So, I don't know. I like the hire for the Texans is good. I worry about the job choice for D'Amico Ryans just because the Texans are useless and I hate them.
Yeah, that's valid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think we're overall in agreement. A good hire. I think so. Just kind of recap what we've talked about. Jonathan Gannon, bad. The consensus about Jonathan Gannon being bad. Shane Steichen, mid, average. Sean Payton, we've talked about, he's good. Frank Reich, good. D'Amico Ryans, good.
Yeah.
So the majority good hires. And we've talked so much about teams who need quarterbacks. That's what we're talking about next here. Just Geek, you can edit this out if you want, but quick time check as we move into the quarterback prospects.
Only an hour and 10 minutes in, so.
Perfect. We have 15 minutes to talk about quarterbacks.
Or less. We can always end early.
That's true. We could. I'm very tired.
Right.
Anyway, I think one thing that I wanted to do with these quarterback prospects, let's talk about guys. First of all, we can talk about the mainstream guys, but everybody's doing that. Let's talk about guys that we think, each of us pick a guy that we think is kind of underrated in this class who could end up being okay in the NFL or could end up just being way better than people are expecting him to be. I'm going to let one of you take the floor first. I want to go last with mine just because, I talk a lot. So who wants to go
Geek,
first?
why don't you go first since we don't know who yours is?
Yeah, you're the only one who I can't figure out, so hit us.
Oh man, I don't know. So I have no.
Man, can I predict yours?
Yeah.
I think you're gonna end up saying Max Dugan.
No.
Hendon Hooker.
No. I thought about that when we first talked about this, though.
That is true, though. Yeah.
I thought about it, but I decided against it.
In that territory.
No, I'm gonna go with a guy that I've seen a lot of, not every place, but a lot of places say, is probably gonna go undrafted, and that's Malik Cunningham.
He just got drafted into the USFL.
Really? How does that work? Yeah, how does that work?
I mean, if he gets an offer from an NFL team, then he's allowed to take it.
Okay. Okay.
But if he goes undrafted, he'll probably just play in the USFL for a year.
I would. Yeah. But I don't hate him. No,
I have not watched him.
He's the one guy I've been struggling to find a comp for. He is an incredible runner. But like his mechanics are bad. His footwork is bad.
Would you say he leans more towards being a Lamar and Kyler runner or a Josh Allen and Cam Newton runner?
I personally think more Kyler Lamar. Personally. Okay. I don't know. He doesn't seem as dumb as Josh Allen.
Where did he go to college?
Louisville.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
he's Lamar. He's Lamar.
Lamar and Teddy. He's kind of a mixture of the two. I'm not even kidding.
Is he in any way a good or salvageable passer?
I think he could be. Like, he's definitely not the worst passer of the quarterbacks I've watched. His mechanics are just sloppy.
So he's Kellen Mond?
In that case, he's Josh Allen. Just nowhere near the arm strength. He's more Lamar Teddy type arm than Josh Allen. But also, outside of Mahomes, you can't really, nobody really has an arm like Josh Allen. So, or Jamarcus Russell. Everybody forgets him. The greatest arm in NFL history, Jamarcus Russell.
Yeah, fair enough.
But no, I think Malik Cunningham, I'm not saying he's going to be incredible, but I think there's a world where he could go be like a 6th, 7th round pick. I have him rated as a 7th round prospect, but teams like to overspend on QBs all the time. But, if he goes to somewhere, this could be interesting. If the Giants miss out on all of the quarterbacks they like, we've seen what Brian Daboll can do with a great athlete with sloppy mechanics. That would be a move I'd consider if I was the Giants. Like, he's as long as his mechanics don't go completely fucking haywire, he is fairly accurate, and he's a very confident passer. He is not afraid to throw. He just, does a lot of the throw off his back foot. Is very, I don't know. He lowers his eyes too quick is maybe the biggest thing. He looks to take off and run. Like where Bryce Young, you see him running around and all he's doing is looking downfield. Malik, the minute he feels pressure, eyes down, taking off running, and that's it. I think it's all fixable, but I think you need the proper coach to fix it.
It's not even an option on the PFF mock draft simulator.
PFF's mock draft simulator is awful. Cam Smith is projected to be a first-round corner by literally everyone. But PFF, who keeps saying, letting Jake pick him in the third fucking round. That's not real.
He falls to every cornerback need team I've picked for in like the third round. But like if you pick Cam Smith in the first round, PFF's like F. How dare you?
It makes no sense. F. Because PFF doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about.
No,
I genuinely believe that.
I do think that there are guys in this class better than him at corner. My humble opinion.
Well, there are. I think he's a first-round prospect.
Yeah, like I would take Gonzalez and Witherspoon over him, but yes, definitely a first-round prospect.
Oh yeah.
I'm
not disagreeing there.
Malik Cunningham propaganda you want to spread to the people?
No, I don't know. He might be my second Teddy. Maybe he'll be the other guy I just randomly am in love with.
Fair enough.
Teddy and Teddy 2. Maybe that's the goal. I'm sorry.
All right, Miller. Let's talk about Jaren Hall, shall we?
Yeah, well, thanks for stealing my thunder. Yeah, Jaren Hall's my guy. I don't know, it's just these Mormon quarterbacks, man, I always get burnt by them. Like, I was a big Zach Wilson fan, and we saw where he went. But just something about Hall. He's just a really smart quarterback. He's really creative. He's good at throwing on the run. Like, I've got my book of notes here, just reading off the strikes I've got written down for him. He's throwing on the run is fantastic. He's really good at it. Geek pointed out to me, and he's right. When he throws on the run, it's kind of all arm, but it works. Like, he didn't have any issues with it. So, like, you can polish that a little bit, make it even better. Like, his floor with throwing on the run is really high. He throws with juice off platform. I mean, he's hitting 30-yard bombs with a dude in his face. I saw it across multiple games. He's super creative. Once he's out of the pocket, like Bryce Young, he has his head up. He's scanning the field. He's trying to figure out what he can do, and he's going to do some weird shit, and it's going to work. He's able to throw with touch downfield. He can hit a guy 40, 50 yards downfield, drop it in the bucket perfectly, hit him in stride, and, score a touchdown, whatever. He's really good at throwing outside the numbers. He can throw from a crowded pocket. He's a dynamic athlete. I saw plays of him juking people out. His vision as a runner is really good. He sees the field really well. He's a really, really good kid from what I've read, like A-plus character. He works through his reads quickly. It's just, he's a little small. He's only 6'1", 205. He's got a non-traditional build, is how I've seen it described. He's got an injury history, not the healthiest guy in the world. He's 25 years old, which obviously sets you back a little bit, but these BYU quarterbacks, they go on their missions, and that's something you got to deal with. And just overall, he needs polish and needs to work on his mechanics a little bit, and that'll fix some of the other problems with him, like his accuracy. But overall, like, I mentioned this to these two in our text group chat. If he was 21, 22 years old, he'd be my QB1. I love Jaren Hall. I'm a massive fan. It's just that the age is a lot, and the injury history on top of the age is a lot. So, I don't know. If he goes to the right team and the right coach can mold him quickly into what they want, maybe he can be a good quarterback for a little while. Have a decade-long career, but he'd have to end up in the perfect situation for that, and the odds of that are slim to none, unfortunately. But all of the tools are there. all of the makings of a good NFL. Like he's also got a really nice arm. I forgot to mention that he can make any NFL throw. Like he is fucking nice with it. He is him, for lack of better words.
Something I noticed a little bit with this QB class. This was not the first thing I wanted to bring up. How many guys did you notice that had like actual weak arms? Like
not so
like
got to
Tua
like the bottom
level.
Couple. Like the bottom couple guys.
Right?
Yeah.
It's
There are a couple
actually
guys
incredible.
who will throw the occasional beach ball, but most of the time.
That happens.
I was gonna say
That's football.
everybody does that. That's just life.
Yeah.
Like, but like overall, I mean, almost every quarterback I looked at least at some level, had just
A competent
right.
arm.
Like none of them were like Tua, where coming out of the draft, you were like, he has the worst arm in this class. It's like actually awful. Like
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
isn't always the worst
the
thing.
only-
I'm sorry. You not being able to throw 80 yards doesn't fucking matter. Joe
Yeah.
Burrow can't either. But like
It-
Brady
The
couldn't
only
either.
guys I have scouted where I have arm strength listed as a weakness is like Stetson Bennett, Aiden O'Connell, and Clayton Tune. Those are the only three. And I've scouted 12 quarterbacks as of right now.
I don't think Dugans is fantastic, but it's not like
No,
low
but it's
level.
NFL level.
It's fine. Yeah,
Yeah.
he can hit the throws.
Mhm.
He's got the ability to get the ball downfield.
I didn't review Tune because I kind of also decided if I was gonna look at guys, there had to be a reason for me to consider them being a better quarterback than Stetson Bennett, who I view as the last draftable quarterback in this class.
Fair.
So like, if I didn't think you could be better than Stetson, I just don't care. Like, but
I just saw that there was a guy named Clayton, and I was like, you know what?
it's a good name.
I
good name.
want to see what he's got going. And turns out, not much.
No. I will say this though. I think Hall is a better prospect than Zach Wilson was. I'm
Yeah.
also
certainly.
notoriously low on Zach Wilson, but that's
No,
okay.
but
Yeah.
you're right about that one. Yeah, for sure.
You are absolutely right. He's better. Like I said, if he wasn't 25, he'd
Yeah.
be my QB1.
25
If he
and
was
wasn't
if-
injury prone. It's not like Hendon Hooker where he's also 25, 26, but he's not injury prone. Yes, he has one injury, but at this point, what player hasn't torn their ACL? It seems like that's just a rite of passage now.
Yeah.
Yes.
I hate to say it. I really do. But I kind of think Jaron Hall would be nice in Minnesota.
Maybe. I mean,
KOC got a hold of him,
And
cooked with
also-
him for a year under Kirk.
yep. And then just the weapons. I mean, there's not a better
Yeah.
landing spot weapons-wise at all,
Yeah.
probably. Because I'm sorry, you're not going to the Eagles. Like, sure, they have better
Like,
weapons. You're
or
not
like
going there.
With the Dolphins.
You're not going
You're
there
not
either.
going-
Like, so
No.
out of the teams that could get a quarterback, Minnesota has the best weapons to
For
give
sure.
them.
Especially when they've already drafted Bijan Robinson in the first round.
I'm so down, dude. Especially, I love seeing all these Vikings fans. No team is giving up a draft pick for Dalvin Cook. He's old and injury prone. Dude, CMC's older and more injury prone and got a bag.
Yeah.
If you're
Yeah.
saying we can't get a single pick for him, you're an idiot.
Yep.
That's real.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You don't think the Bills would give us their third-round pick for Dalvin Cook? You don't think the Dolphins would give us their
definitely do
third-round
that.
pick for Dalvin Cook?
They would definitely.
Well, according to our Madden league, they had to give up, what, a first-round pick?
Well, the
and
Dolphins
Tyreek
had to
Hill?
give up Tyreek Hill. No, that's it. They just had to
Oh, I
give up
thought-
Tyreek Hill. The Vikings
Yeah.
had to give up a first-rounder and a
Oh,
second-rounder.
that's right. It was Dalvin in okay.
Yeah. Because
That's
who
right.
doesn't want to see Tyreek Hill in Minnesota with Justin Jefferson and TJ Hawkinson?
With Teddy Bridgewater throwing to them, where they finish 8-9.
Dog, if Madden wasn't so shit, it would not have been that.
That's what they all say.
No, it actually was a playoff team until
That
Madden
reminds me-
decided to let the Patriots score 3 touchdowns because my players, I would switch to them. They're about to make a tackle. They dive the other way. It made no sense. Miller has the
reminds me-
video. It's real.
Yeah, I want to see in our Madden class what Jaron Hall is rated.
Is he even in that class?
He better be. He
Also,
is.
check Malik. Oh, we lost Jake. Now it's just foreheads.
Malik's in here. Oh my. That's not good.
Also, what's Malik?
54 overall.
What's his throw power though?
I didn't check. I will.
Also, what's Hall's throw power? Because
Hall's
I got
throw
screwed
power
over, so I still might need a QB.
is 88.
Fuck.
Feels low.
Because it is. Because Madden's useless.
Yeah.
Even though Madden didn't create that roster, but when you're making rosters, you're probably comparing to like what the actual guys are, and when Kyler Murray has less than 90 throw power, it's really tough to give.
Yeah, I'm gonna do us all a favor and make some of this more realistic. Anyways, continuing.
It's your turn.
It's mine?
You were talking about
I already
Hall.
talked about Hall.
Yeah, and then I asked you a question, but whatever.
What did you ask
Jake,
me?
I don't remember. Jake, who's your guy?
My guy is the man out of UCLA, Dorian Tompkins Robinson. This dude, I think the first thing people will tell you when you ask about this guy is he is discount Anthony Richardson. And from watching him, that's basically what he is. But I also think he shares the same kind of trait as Anthony Richardson, where you can kind of see the vision with him having a high ceiling. Obviously, he's known as like a big mobility guy, and I pointed to, if you've seen my TikTok video, the one run against ASU where he jukes and hurdles the same guy on the same play and then proceeds to run away from 95% of the defense until he just runs into a wall of tacklers. Very, very good runner. He's a smart runner. Not only that, but he's also a tough runner. I think that's a very lethal combination to have, and he's very, very good off the read option, very good on the QB sneak. Like UCLA, I tweeted about this. The funniest thing was they would run QB sneak from like the 10-yard line on 1st and goal. Or like it's crazy. They would run it from like they would run it on like 3rd and 5, and they usually would come pretty close to it. He has decent arm strength. I think that it's definitely a little underrated. His first touchdown pass versus UCLA, where he rolls to his weak side and throws it across his body deep down the field for a touchdown. The guy was wide open, and most quarterbacks can make that throw. But I think it was pretty good to see a guy like him who you don't think of as the best passer make that kind of throw. I don't know, man. It's something about him. I mean, he seriously can elevate a team's run game. I mean, he's a fantastic runner. Very, very similar to Anthony Richardson's skippability. His arm talent, his arm strength, I think, are both things that are pretty underrated in my eyes. I think he makes some nice throws. He kind of has the Josh Allen bozo gene a little bit. The first play of the game against Arizona State, he just tosses it right to the safety, and you're just like, what were you doing? But he is definitely not some high-level quarterback at the current moment, but I really think that there is some underrated potential there that can really turn this guy into something special. I think he's a special talent, and I think there might even be a chance he ends up being better than Anthony Richardson.
So what you're saying
one of those two guys could develop into a very good quarterback.
So what you're saying is DTR is a Viking. Got it.
I would be so mad because not only is he my favorite quarterback, and he's my favorite quarterback in this class. I just love DTR a lot, and he was before I even watched him. And I would hate to see him go to a rival. Would suck.
Good.
But also, you would be getting a good quarterback. So, yes. DTR is my guy. Yes. No surprise there. I've been talking about him so much on TikTok and Twitter after I watched him. Yeah, good QB.
I've actually accepted that Hendon Hooker is the guy we're gonna draft. I've accepted.
Yeah, Hendon
this.
Hooker, I think, is probably a Viking.
The only thing I hate about it is we're doing the same thing that ended up happening with Kirk. Like, yes, we're getting our new QB. We're also getting him really fucking old. Like,
that was the funniest Twitter interaction. Was Kirk Cousins watching Hendon Hooker run the football and throw the football. How is he doing that?
Dude, I stand by Kirk. Well, He showed it in the Pro Bowl. He knows how to move, so I don't know why the fuck he doesn't.
He also knows how to get carried by a fullback.
Yeah. Why does it... What the fuck is Hendon Hooker's birthday? Wikipedia just says 1998. That's it.
He does not have a day.
I do know that he will be 25 on draft night.
Well, yeah, because he'll be 26 by the time the season starts. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm just trying to figure it out. But he's like the same age as Lamar. Like, almost. Kind of. Lamar was born in 97. Like, that's tough. Like, I don't hate Hendon Hooker. I just don't like the idea of our franchise quarterback not taking over the franchise until he's 27. That just feels bad.
The Viking way, baby.
No, the Viking way would be to trade up and draft Tanner McKee at like 15. That's the Viking way.
Tanner McKee.
Go full Christian fucking Ponder again. Which, funnily enough, who did I compare to Christian Ponder? I know I did it with somebody. At least I thought I did. No, Aiden O'Connell. Aiden O'Connell. I said his NFL comp is Christian Ponder.
I don't know. So, Jake, did you watch O'Connell?
No. He is probably going to be the first guy I watch when I return to quarterbacks, but I've watched my 10 guys.
Yeah.
And moving on to corner tomorrow.
I didn't have a comp for... Listen, that's not even the... You want to know... I had a comp for somebody that was quite interesting. Clayton Tune. You want to know who my comp for Clayton Tune was?
Who's that?
Hey, Dalton.
F. Driscoll.
Okay. You know what? You could have a respectable career being Jeff Driscoll.
You definitely could, yeah.
Only don't you have to move to tight end at some point and then back to quarterback? Who was that on the Texans? Which quarterback was that? Was it? I don't know. I don't know.
Just
Now I gotta go look at
I
how.
didn't have a comp for O'Connell. What are my comps that I have? Because I know I didn't have a lot. I gotta go back through. I had Powerball ticket for Anthony Richardson. I had athletic Jared Goff for Stroud. I had a young Ryan Tannehill with a stronger arm for Will Levis.
Yeah.
How do I feel about that one?
What
That's an interesting one.
Who ended up being your comp for Bryce Young?
I didn't put one.
Neither did I.
I went with Russ.
I mean, I see it.
Big arm, good accuracy, good out of structure. Like, because they can't work in structure. They are literally too short.
Yeah.
This is not
I don't disagree
joke.
with that. I think that's fair.
Who'd you give CJ Stroud? I'm intrigued.
I said athletic Jared Goff.
I just said Kirk. It's just Kirk. Only, I think, a way higher ceiling than Kirk, but...
Yeah, and I want to point out, I think Stroud has a higher ceiling than Goff as well.
Well, athletic Jared Goff also is just kind of Kirk.
Pretty much, yeah.
Kirk just doesn't use his athleticism, which is what made me go, oh, Stroud is Kirk. Because Kirk can move, he just fucking doesn't. Ever.
Yeah. Did you have a comp for Hooker?
Hendon Hooker, I said Dak.
I wrote Diet Dak Prescott.
Yep.
That was exactly what I had.
And
okay.
Oh yeah. I gave Tanner McKee. Tanner McKee is Goff if he never met Sean McVay. Which is valid.
Like McKee.
I don't
like
either.
McKee.
Dugan, I gave the Minshew comp to.
I see it.
Yeah. DTR, I actually gave the Mariota comp.
I Fuck, there was another one I had. Who was the... I gave Stetson Bennett. Bennett, I gave Taylor Heineke.
Nice.
No, I'm sorry, that was Max Dugan.
Ah, nice.
Yeah, Max Dugan.
better.
I wrote Taylor Heineke with Josh Allen's mentality.
Nice.
That's what he is. Okay.
do
I
you-
knew it was one of the quirked up white boys. I just couldn't remember which one.
Do you want to make a guess on who I compared Jaron Hall to? Both of you, I want to know.
Scared, because you're gonna say something rude.
You might think so, but I don't. But it's also because I'm incredibly high on this guy, so it's okay.
Eddie Bridgewater.
No. Teddy doesn't have enough arm.
That's true. He does not.
Who are
It's
you
very
high?
true.
Is this guy currently a starter in the NFL?
No.
Is this guy currently a backup in the NFL?
Yes.
So he's in the NFL.
Helen Mond.
No.
You consider Baker a starter?
No.
Is it Baker?
No.
Was it Baker?
Oh,
Okay.
Oh, I would have liked it if it was Baker.
no,
It
it's
doesn't make sense, but I would have liked it.
it's Matt Corral.
My DTR comp, unfortunately, as much as I love him, is Daniel Jones.
So, fun fact about me with DTR. I know you guys know this, but I'll tell the people at home. I haven't watched him in 2022 because the film service that we all use, for some reason, didn't give Geek or I his 2022 films. So I
And
sat
if you
down.
know anything about 2021 DTR, not the same
It's
person.
bad.
It's
the
not
same
good.
person.
So
Not good at all.
I watched a game from 2020 and a game from 2021 and was like, I guess that's all I have to go off of. So I wrote down what the media thinks Justin Fields is.
That is also true.
That is
That
what
is
I mean, that's
DTR
valid.
was.
I'm not
Yeah.
mad at that.
Does that still hold up after 2022 as well?
No, I think that he's a better passer than people think Justin Fields is.
Okay.
Well,
Like,
yeah,
if
because
you were to
people
ask
think
fantasy
Justin Fields
football,
can't
is
throw
he-
4 yards.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you were to ask
That
average
was
NFL
DTR in
fan-
2020 and 2021. He couldn't
Yeah,
throw 4 yards.
if they were to, if I think Justin Fields is actually a decent comp for DTR. Now that I think about it,
That's rude.
I don't think it is. I'm high on DTR.
Do you think DTR is a potential long-term starter?
Right situation, possibly.
A high-quality long-term starter? Top 10-ish?
I don't have to worry about that. Justin
He
Fields
could
isn't
be.
that. So
So,
Justin Fields isn't there yet, but he will be once he has an actual team.
well, first we have
Sure.
to see if he ever gets an actual team. Again,
It's true.
just because you have money doesn't mean you sign anyone. Also, to make you feel worse, you're not getting Daron Payne.
I know. I saw that the Commanders are probably
yeah, they're gonna franchise tag
tagging him.
him.
That's fine. We'll get Draymond Jones. He's just diet Daron Payne.
Fair enough.
Except bad. But that fits Chicago, so it'll work out.
Yeah.
My
Draymond
comp,
Jones isn't bad. He's good. He's not Daron Payne. He's not a superstar, but he's a quality starter. Not
okay,
like he's some
so you'd
rotational
rather
guy.
have him than Hargrave and Dalvin Tomlinson? Who
Like
are
a
both
first round
better
pick.
in
Yes.
every way?
That's right. We can still have Hargrave. I forgot about
Or
him. Yeah,
Dalvin
give me
Tomlinson?
Hargrave.
You want to
Or
trade a
Dalvin
first round
Tomlinson.
pick for Kenny Clark. You want to
Once we
a
trade
first
down
round
to like
pick for
30
Kenny
after
Clark.
trading down 4 times, you can have one of the first round picks we get.
Oh, God.
Oh, what? No, ideally, I want Jalen Carter and Javon Hargrave. That would be sick as fuck.
That would be nice.
You doing the Texans deal? You trading down to 2 if they just offer you their other first this year?
Yes.
Like
in
just
a
those 2
heartbeat.
picks?
Yes, in a heartbeat.
I would do
Okay.
that.
Just
In a
I was just
heartbeat.
curious.
You take Carter at 2, and then you take, like, I don't
What
know,
if it was the
JSN or a
Seahawks?
tackle at 12.
What if they lose Geno and they give you 5 and whatever the fuck the
They
other
have,
one is?
20 Broncos pick.
Well, that's
Broncos pick
5.
is the 5.
Yeah,
What's the other one?
I'd take that, too, if we got
Oh,
two
the other
firsts.
one's their own.
their own.
It's 20.
Yeah, I'd take 5 and 20 to move down. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
You hope
So
one of
would
the
I.
defenders falls to you, and if they don't, you take Tyree Wilson, and then
Mhm.
that's his name, right? The Texas A&M kid, the edge.
Texas Tech, yeah. Okay.
Tech,
Yeah,
sorry.
whatever.
I get
Same
the Texas
shit.
mixed up. Yeah, same shit.
Remember Miles
Different
Murphy from
designation.
Clemson? Yeah.
Yeah. No, I want Wilson. I've watched a little bit of Wilson. I really like him. But you take him, and then at 20,
That's the dude
you take a
that
receiver or a
Jackson
tackle,
had.
and you're cooking.
So, I didn't finish my comps. Because I never said, who do you think I compared Malik Cunningham to?
Teddy Bridgewater.
No. He's...
Is it? I'm gonna go through my guessing game again. Is this person currently starting in the NFL?
No.
Was he ever at one point a starter for a full season in the NFL?
Yes.
Excluding missing season from injury.
Oh, then yes.
Were they ever? Okay.
Like yeah.
If
He played in the NFC.
He has.
is he on
Did
the
he
NFL
start
team
in the
right this
NFC?
season?
I don't remember. He's been on
Who's
a lot of teams.
fast?
Has he
fast?
been on your team?
No.
Who
Has he
fast?
been on either of our teams?
Is
No.
it Tyler Huntley?
No.
Who did Tyler Huntley
Former
play for in the
Ravens
NFC?
backup, though.
Trace McSorley?
No.
Robert Griffin III.
No.
Joe Flacco.
No. I said Ravens backup.
Has
You're
this
never
person-
gonna get this.
Okay. Has this person backed up Lamar?
No.
Tyrod Taylor?
Yes.
Tyrod was the backup when they won the Super Bowl. Yeah,
Tyrod was the backup from 2011 to 2014. Then he went to Buffalo, and then Cleveland, and then the Chargers, and then the Texans, and then the Giants. And it was one of those things, like the Browns. He was the full-time starter, and then he got hurt. So that's why I was like, I don't know. Because that's the problem with Tyrod. He's always been good enough to be that guy. He just gets so unlucky with injuries, and then the guy who replaces him is suddenly a top 5 quarterback. That's just how it works.
Who do you guys think my Max Dugan comp was?
You said it. Fuck, you
I
said it.
said mine.
I did not say Max
Oh,
Dugan.
fuck.
My Max Dugan comp.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
I have not spoken those words.
Your
What
Max
crooked
Dugan
up
comp.
white boy is it?
Brock
You know.
Purdy.
No, you know. No.
Did you really? But that doesn't even make sense. How is it a Drew Lock comp?
Is Drew Lock?
That doesn't even make sense.
It's just a quirked up white boy.
I didn't even compare Max Dugan to anybody.
Oh, okay.
I just thought.
He is Taylor Heineke.
You know what I
Yeah.
gave? You know what I gave Stetson Bennett? This one's gonna be interesting.
Baker, Johnny Manziel.
Is he
No.
a starter in the NFL right now?
He's not in the NFL right now. He's
Johnny
retired.
Manziel.
No.
Has he retired? Did he retire in the last 5 years?
Yes.
Big Ben.
No. For
Martin
Stetson
Mill.
Bennett.
Phillip Rivers.
No. You guys are thinking of like too good of quarterbacks.
Did he?
Okay, are they another quirked up white boy?
Kinda.
Did he ever play in the AFC?
Oh yeah.
Did he
Is
ever
he a
play in the
starter?
NFC?
Yeah.
Noodles.
No.
Did he play in the NFC at all?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Did he start in the NFC?
Ben Kurt.
He started in both the AFC and the NFC.
Any Super Bowl rings?
Ben Kurt.
No.
Did he play for any of our teams?
No. Shockingly no, as he has
Did he
played
play-
for like
did-
everybody.
Did he ever lead a playoff team?
It's Fitzpatrick.
It's Fitzmagic.
Magic?
Yeah. Dude, coming out of college,
college.
Fitz the only, like, genuinely the only thing Fitz has ever really had is he's very smart. That's what
crazy.
Bennett is. He's just
That's
really
crazy
smart.
that, like, Fitzpatrick hasn't touched our division, has he?
No.
No.
He somehow avoided the NFC North. I don't know how he did that.
Because the Packers are icky, the Vikings are poopy, the Lions are
And the Bears suck.
Valid.
no, and he said, Jay Cutler, I don't want to take your job. And then all these other quarterbacks came in, and then Justin Fields came in, and he was like, that gives the truth. It's real, I know Ryan
I don't think that's how
Fitzpatrick.
that
He
went.
told me Justin Fields is the truth.
I don't think that's how that went. I think teams like the Jets just kept giving him a starting job. So he was like, all
That's
right.
also true.
or the Texans, or where did he end? Oh yeah, he finished as a commander.
Yeah, he was a commie.
Though he never suited up in an actual game, which is good.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Anyways,
Would have been sad.
I think we're finished here, fellas.
I think we are.
Real
Ready to
qu-
wrap this thing up, boys?
Do we all agree though? Who's the best QB in the class?
Bryce Young, if he
Bryce
measures in
Young.
at 6 feet, if he's under that,
He's
I'm taking
under
Anthony
6 feet.
Richardson.
He's
If he
so
measures
far
in-
under 6 feet.
If he measures in at like 5'8", 5'9", I'm taking Anthony
Have you
Richardson.
still not seen the picture of him standing next to Kyler
No,
Murray?
listen, I know, but I'm going to be a little government sheep and go off of what is legally out there, is on record.
Dog, my driver's
When he
license
measures-
says I'm 6'5".
Okay, well then when he measures in under 6 feet at the combine, then I will start to push my Anthony Richardson QB1.
CJ Stroud better.
I have Stroud at QB4 comfortably.
Who is your 3?
Levis.
Ah,
All right, let me read off my rankings.
It's just
now.
I'm not going through
Okay.
mine entirely yet, but
I'm gonna go through the ones we talked about: Young, Richardson, Stroud, Levis, DTR, Hooker, Dugan, not Dugan. Maybe Dugan. I'm up in the air like my bottom 3 right now. It's Stetson, Dugan, and McKee, but I don't know where to put those in what order. Probably
I can
Dugan.
run through mine.
My
Mine's-
t-
Stetson.
my top 5 is the most basic ever.
Let me guess. Young, Stroud.
Yeah.
Am I right so far? Richardson,
Levis, Hooker.
Richardson, Levis, Hooker. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I know it's basic, but it's also correct.
And 6.
Okay,
And 6
I
is
could-
Dugan.
No.
6 is O'Connell. No way.
No.
Is it Hall?
6 is.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. I've got in order from 1 to, I'm going to say 1 to 11 because I can't fairly rank DTR until I've watched him.
Yeah.
I've got Young, Levis, Richardson, or I'm sorry, meant to flip that. It's Young, Richardson, Levis. I've got the little arrows next to their names. I flip-flop back and forth, but I think I'm pretty confident on Richardson now. So Young, Richardson, Levis, Stroud, Hall, Hooker, McKee, Dugan, Bennett, Toon, O'Connell. That's my top 11.
Nice.
Wow. Okay.
All right. Well,
I just don't want to run through my whole list at this exact moment. Though I do want to say, I think the thing is I'm betting on Stroud's floor. I think
fair.
that's why I have him at 2, because he
Yeah.
has the second lowest floor. Like
I mean, the second
Richards,
highest floor.
yeah, you know what I mean. You know what I meant.
No, I agree completely. I think he has
Like-
the highest floor.
Actually, you're probably right. I think
Yeah.
Young as a player has the highest floor.
It's just the
The
height,
issue is the injury
the
concern.
size.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think Richardson would be QB1 if we were looking at just potential.
Yeah.
Like, he has the highest ceiling, but I think Stroud has the highest floor. So I give Stroud QB2 just because of that. But that's also, we've noticed that's not how that works. I would honestly bet Levis and Richardson go before Stroud. I would bet on it. I still like Stroud more, but I think it's just like Justin Fields. While Fields had the higher floor than Wilson and Lance, they have possibly the higher ceilings. I don't agree with Wilson. With Lance, though, I do. Like, his arm talent is better than Fields, and rushing ability coming out of college, I would have said, is the same. Now that they're in the NFL, I don't know. Fields took some of that elite running back juice, apparently. I don't. He did not run like that in college. Like, I could not have seen that coming.
Right.
So, yeah, but
That's interesting.
what's interesting?
According to Ian Hartitz, the Bears are the team most likely to sign Jacoby Myers.
I'm sorry.
Nice.
Why are you sorry? He's not
Just
bad.
Just keep signing Walsh Patriots receivers.
But why do you keep wanting just mid receivers? You don't want anyone good. You don't have a single good receiver.
I want good receivers.
No, you want mid. Jacoby Myers is not a top 3 receiver on any team with good receivers. He wouldn't be wide receiver 6 in Minnesota.
Is fine if we have literally no other choice.
But you do. You have other choices.
When the Bears trade down just to draft Rasheed Rice in the first round.
No, he doesn't belong on an NFL roster.
If the Bears pick anyone at wide receiver not named Jackson Smith and Jigba in the first round, they're idiots. And Poles deserve
Zay Flowers.
If they pick Flowers and JSN is on the board, Poles should get fired before the pick is announced.
What if JSN is drafted and Flowers is our only option?
I literally just said if JSN is on the board, he gets fired.
Yeah. Look at this guy with his technicalities. Get out of here, Mr. Technical Terry.
I'm sorry. I tried to take the words you said and change them, and now I'm mad that you caught me. Grow up, Miller. Jesus.
Actually, you want to be real? I did just grow up because I just turned 20.
True.
It
is midnight.
That's not true.
Yeah.
It is not midnight. It is 10:04. It is. I will not be texting you and saying anything good to you for 2 hours.
I will purposefully be asleep by the time it's 12 o'clock where you're at.
Oh, don't worry. I will be calling.
No.
Us superiors on the East Coast are celebrating Miller Football's birthday live on the podcast right now. Happy birthday, Miller.
You're in literally the worst time zone. What a way to end it
off. We celebrate the Whopper Song's birthday. Happy birthday, Whopper Song. That's the best way I can think of to outro this podcast. David salutes you. We salute you. We are Run the North on all social platforms. Go follow us all individually. I'm not going to plug all that. It's too much words. But yeah, go follow.
_ on all platforms.
TikTok Sports. That's the Geek Slays on everything. Yeah, we're Run the North, and we will see you guys next time.
Bye, guys.